To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. In taking revenge, a man is but even with his enemy, but in passing it over, he is superior. In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. A wise man will make more opportunities than he finds. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Life is a series of collisions with the future. It is not the sum of what we have been, but what we yearn to be. Money is a great servant, but a bad master. People who know little are usually great talkers, while men who know much say little. Always do what you are afraid to do. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. These things are not asking to be judged by you. Leave them alone. Things never happen the same way twice. Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. You should be careful not to form a very favorable opinion about a person at first acquaintance. Otherwise, in most cases, you will have to be disappointed. When it is dark enough, you can see the stars. We are our choices. The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. We live only now. Everything else is either past or is unknown. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Stop allowing your mind to be a slave, to be jerked about by selfish impulses, to kick against fate in the present, and to mistrust the future. Give a person everything that he desires, and at the same moment, he will feel that this is not everything. We are not rich by what we possess, but by what we can do without. The most spiritual people experience by far the most painful tragedies. But this is precisely why they honor life, because it provides them with their greatest adversities. That they think they are more happy or unhappy than they really are. Evil person cannot be happy, for being alone with himself, he remains alone with the villain. Many people know they are unhappy, but even more people don't know they are happy. The more kind a person is, the less he notices the bad in people. The future comes slowly, the present flies, and the past stands still forever. Clever are not so much looking for loneliness as they avoid the fuss created by fools. The greatest of follies is to sacrifice health for any other kind of happiness. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is really free. With oneself is a good exercise. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. The virtuous man contents himself with dreaming that which the wicked man does in actual life. You desire to know the art of living, my friend. It is contained in one phrase: make use of suffering. The man who has no inner life is the slave of his surroundings. Divide each difficulty into as many parts as is feasible and necessary to resolve it. To remain in the past means to be dead. My friend is he who will tell me my faults in private. No evil propensity of the human heart is so powerful that it may not be subdued by discipline. No man ever threw away life while it was worth keeping. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Do not complain about growing old. It is a privilege denied to many. To perceive the world differently, we must be willing to change our belief system. Let the past slip away, expand our sense of now, and dissolve the fear in our minds. Man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. Happiness is the only thing that doubles when you share it. Whoever attaches a lot of value to the opinions of others pays them too much honor. If we suspect that a man is lying, we should pretend to believe him, for then he becomes bold and assured, lies more vigorously, and is unmasked. Prayers do not change the world, but prayers change people, and people change the world. Rules for happiness: something to do, someone to love, something to hope for. If you love something so much, let it go. If it comes back, it was meant to be. If it doesn't, it never was. It is not so much our friends' help that helps us, as the confidence of their help. silent, or let thy words be worth more than silence. Respond to critiques with accomplishments. From the point of view of youth, life is an endless future. From the point of view of old age, it is a very short past. An intelligent person always hides three things about himself: his weaknesses, his sources of wisdom, and his true aspirations. When we lose one blessing, another is often most unexpectedly given in its place. Depression is like a woman in black. If she turns up, don't shoo her away. Invite her in, offer her a seat. Treat her like a guest and listen to what she wants to say. Just improve yourself. That is the only thing you can do to better the world. Everywhere, man blames nature and fate, yet his fate is mostly but the echo of his character and passion, his mistakes and his weaknesses. Love you will find only where you may show yourself weak without provoking strength. One cannot be deeply responsive to the world without being saddened very often. Man's main task is to give birth to himself. To be happy is to be able to become aware of oneself without fright. It is only for those without hope that hope is given. Smart people learn from everything and everyone. Average people from their experiences. Stupid people already have all the answers. Circumstances don't make the man. They only reveal him to himself. Do not chase after happiness. It is always in you. The right question is usually more important than the right answer. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river if he's not the same man. A confident person avoids two things in life: idle gossip and petty conflicts, choosing instead to cultivate understanding and foster harmony. Boastful speeches are the first sign of weakness, and those who are capable of great things keep their mouths shut. The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Our plans miscarry because they have no aim. When a man does not know what harbor he is making for, no wind is the favorable wind. Do something every day that you don't want to do. This is the golden rule for acquiring the habit of doing your duty without pain. Never tell the truth to people who are not worthy of it. All you need in this life is ignorance and confidence. Then success is sure. From love arises hatred of those things which are contrary to what we love, or which oppose and thwart us in those things that we delight in. The harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. I love the man that can smile in trouble, that can gather strength from distress and grow. He who dares not offend. Character is much easier kept than recovered. Finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. You shall begin it serenely and with too high a spirit to be encumbered with your old nonsense. Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. Be wary of the man who urges an action in which he himself incurs no risk. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Because a thing seems difficult for you, do not think it impossible for anyone to accomplish. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. The more honest men are, the less he suspects others of dishonesty. A low soul always presupposes the lowest motives for noble deeds. The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference, that you have lived and lived well. Dare to live the life you have dreamed for yourself. Go forward and make your dreams come true. Action may not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action. The art of being wise is knowing what to overlook. The greatest discovery of any generation is that a human can alter his life by altering his attitude. Be not afraid of life. Believe that life is worth living, and your belief will help create the fact. The great use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast it. Our view of the world is truly shaped by what we decide to hear. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Those who are not looking for happiness are the most likely to find it, because those who are searching forget that the surest way to be happy is to seek happiness for others. Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question. What fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I'm about to criticize? Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. 3 things never come back: time, word, and opportunity. Therefore, do not waste time. Choose words, and do not miss the opportunity. A healthy man wants 1,000 things. A sick man only wants one. Opportunities multiply as they are seized. It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. If you make a mistake and do not correct it, this is called a mistake. Attack the evil that is within yourself, rather than attacking the evil that is in others. Silence is a true friend who never betrays. What the superior man seeks is in himself. What the small man seeks is in others. Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. Respond intelligently, even to unintelligent treatment. Act without expectation. Never allow someone to be your priority while allowing yourself to be their option. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. To be happy, we must not be too concerned with others. In order to understand the world, one has to turn away from it on occasion. People hasten to judge in order not to be judged themselves. You will never be able to experience everything. So please, do poetical justice to your soul. Simply experience yourself. Without work, all life goes rotten. But when work is soulless, life stifles and dies. If a man will begin with certainties, he shall end in doubts. But if he will be content to begin with doubts, he shall end in certainties. Hope is a good breakfast, but it is a bad supper. If you would be a real seeker after truth, it is necessary that at least once in your life you doubt, as far as possible, all things. Freedom is what we do with what is done to us. 3 o'clock is always too late or too early for anything you want to do. Every word has consequences. Every silence, too. Those that are most slow in making a promise are the most faithful in the performance of it. Man was born free, and he is everywhere in chains. Those who think themselves the masters of others are indeed greater slaves than they. Judge a man by his questions rather than by his answers. Life is a shipwreck, but we must not forget to sing in the lifeboats. Cherish those who seek the truth, but beware of those who find it. He who knows how to be poor knows everything. You will never be happy if you continue to search for what happiness consists of. You will never live if you are looking for the meaning of life.